Hello, welcome to 30-Minute Mindfulness. Today I thought we would talk a little bit about just dealing with the unknown. We are living in a time of such grave unknowns. And I know we all get inundated with the media and we sense it's very convoluted. The messages we hear are very convoluted, very fear-based. And all of this stuff stokes our fires inside of anxiety and fear. There seems to be new stories of corruption and collusion every day about this or that. It seems like the truth would be freely given, yet it seems more difficult to discern the truth right now than it would be to travel abroad, which seems crazy. But anyway, so many of us have lost, so many folks are struggling with this pandemic. So many people have lost their lives. So many people are struggling to say well. Our healthcare professionals work tirelessly to save and heal and protect. And many of us are sitting watching the leaders of our country trip each other in so many ways. And they do this in the name of service, but it's to the expense of the people, to the expense of us. And many of us are watching, waiting without a paycheck to see what unfolds. There's tremendous amounts of stress. And all of us are just looking for that sense of stability, a sense of control, some sense of normalcy to have back into our lives. So in this very, very difficult time, it's difficult from a physical standpoint, emotional standpoint, an economical standpoint. We're living in this grave unknown. The whole world is in this unknown. And at the same time, we do see tremendous moments of hope. The earth is becoming healthier. We see beautiful acts of kindness daily as normal people like you and me step up to help each other, to help their neighbor. Yet we still don't know how things are going to unfold. So I'm seeing tremendous unrest with my clients that I work with and conversations that I have. So how do we find a sense of balance, a sense of peace with all this unrest, with all this unknown? So I thought there's just 4 tools that we could do every day to bring a sense of balance into our life, a sense of calm, of peace. So the first one is balance. Balance our sense to be informed with not being inundated. So it's important to be informed. Of course we want to know what's going on, but it's also important to find balance. Where does our daily updates become a toxic downward spiral, feeding fear and anxiety? Maybe limit the time you spend watching or reading about the latest news and the aftermath of what's going on. Number 2, be cautious of the planning mind. Do what you can to plan and prepare, and then let go of the rest. It's important not to let planning and preparation become obsessive. It's as if this continuous planning in our mind gives us a false sense of security, thinking that we're somehow in this action of being productive towards a resolution. But in reality, what we're doing is we're not discerning any new information or making decisions about something new. We're just rehashing what we've already rehashed multiple times in our mind. And that keeps our stress and anxiety and our fear constantly running. It's a continuous pushing of those stress hormones and chemicals through our bodies. Number 3, seek to be aware of those ruminating thoughts. So as soon as you catch yourself spiraling into that doom and gloom, do your best to come back to the present moment. Right now I have food. Right now I have shelter. Right now in this moment I'm okay. Right now. We all understand the tremendous unknowns that so many of us face, that all of us face. If we focus on what we don't have or what we don't know, we make the fear of the unknown bigger. We can easily spiral into that what if the sky really does fall today? And these what ifs, these thoughts don't help resolve the issue. It's as if we have the mental hiccups, and these repetitive thoughts keep getting bigger and bigger as they continue. Mark Twain said, I have had many problems in my life, most of which never happened. So do your best to reframe or redirect those repetitive what ifs, those negative thoughts. It doesn't mean that we're ignoring the reality of this situation that's extremely difficult in so many ways. But we just don't want to obsess about the thoughts, obsess about this spiraling down of what if, what if, what if. Try not to have a thought you don't want to experience. When you notice the intrusive thoughts, pause, look at the thought, and just say, okay, cool, you no longer serve me, and push delete. Do your best to move on with your life and just push delete. Remember, the body doesn't know the difference between thinking a traumatic thought or living that traumatic event. We create the same stress chemicals in our brain and the same hormones in our body. So a little arousal of stress isn't bad, but chronic stress, chronic fear, anxiety, those cause us grave harm. They limit our ability to think and perceive clearly. Our mental acuity and performance decreases. When these ruminating thoughts arise, do your best to push delete. And number 4, finally, feed your peaceful nature. Remember that peace lives in the present moment. Peace doesn't live in the future or the past. Anxiety and fear live in the future and the past. Remember, planning is thinking about the future. The what ifs are thinking about the future. Worrying is future. Fear is worrying that something bad will happen in the future. The present moment is our refuge. It sounds too simple to be true, but here are a few things to think about, a few things to do in the present moment, just for a minute. If you have 1 minute, just maybe you do it 5 or 6, maybe 10 times a day. Just come back to the present moment. One option is maybe every time you touch a door handle, pause. Take 2 clear and present breaths, and then proceed. That's it. Just 2 breaths, and then proceed. But in that pause, you just bring your awareness back to the present moment. Maybe pause for a minute and check in with your senses. Maybe see what's beautiful. See the detail that you don't normally pay attention to. Maybe hear the detail that you don't normally pay attention to. Maybe you could hear the birds singing and just focus on that for just a minute. That's the present moment. When you wash the dishes, do it with presence. Feel that soapy, slippery plate in your hands. Feel the hot water. Pay attention to all the detail of that washing the dish. And then try to do that task with the sensation of feeling what is, the sensation of feeling what it feels like with your hands touching the water and the heat, not with the agenda of getting the dishes done. And then maybe another option would be go for a walk and count 5 beautiful things that you see. It could be as simple as a flower growing out of a crack in the sidewalk, or maybe a butterfly dancing in the breeze as it floats by. Whatever it is, it's important. It's more important now than it ever has been to feed our peaceful, our calm, that still point inside. And there's so many ways to do this. The ways we just described. Meditation is a way. Doing this, what we're doing right now. Yoga, gardening, painting, writing, knitting, photography, hiking. Spend time doing whatever it is that feeds your soul. That brings you into the present moment. And these moments of presence give you a mental recess. They're our internal reset button. They help us stay healthy and centered, balanced. We do not fear the unknown. We fear what we think we know about the unknown. The present moment stops our fortune telling about what we think may come. It stops our overactive thoughts that keep us in that fear, worry, and anxiety moment, that stress. So our refuge is now, even though that sounds so simple. So with that, I invite you to close your eyes and let's meditate for about 20 minutes. So find a posture that feels upright, alert, but not rigid. And just take a couple deep breaths, similar to those breaths if you put your hand on that doorknob, that pause. Just pause right now. Let your awareness be here. Let your body be at rest. Let your breath be natural. Allow the stillness. Allow it. There's nowhere to be. There's nothing to plan. There's nothing to do. This moment is your recess. It's just a few moments. This moment is your gift to yourself to reset, to nurture your peaceful nature, to give back to yourself that sense of calm. There is nothing here except the now, which is your breath, your body, and the sensations that rise and fall. We don't need to push away any sensations or thoughts. We just notice them with kind of that curious attention. Oh, look at that. Planning. And then put that planning on that leaf in your mental river and let it float down the river. Out of sight, out of mind. We don't need to be involved in the story, or the thoughts, or the emotion. We can just, as soon as we have awareness of it, put it on that leaf and let it float down the river. Cultivating peace takes effort, but it's a gentle effort. Every time we come back to the breath, we're cultivating presence. And peace lives in the present moment. So we just come back to the breath. If it's 1,000 times, how cool. That was 1,000 opportunities to come back to the present moment. 1,000 opportunities to practice mindfulness. Every time we see a thought and we come back to our breath, it gives us resilience and practice so that in life we can stop the ruminating thoughts. We just remember our breath. When the thoughts spin, we can just remember our breath. If it feels difficult to keep your awareness on your breath, then sometimes it's helpful to put your hand on your tummy and sensing that rise and fall of your belly is another aspect of presence. Or maybe you feel your bum in the seat, your feet grounded on the floor. Whatever sense is predominant for you, whatever sense grounds you to the present moment, that's perfectly wonderful to use. When thoughts arise, just let them be. There's no judgment. There's no doing this wrong. It's just practice. We just show up with awareness of our breath and come back to awareness time and time again. Mindfulness is a really gentle process. So gentle at times it can feel like we're not doing enough or not doing it right, or we need to do more. We just have a way of making sense of that doing nature. And mindfulness is the undoing. We're undoing all of the revved up situations we create. We're undoing all of the stress and the fear. We're just sitting with. I'll ring the bell in just another minute. So let's just sit with our breath for that final moment. In and out. And when you're ready, please open your eyes. Thanks for being here. Have a great day. Remember that peace lives in the now, so find your now. See you tomorrow.